Howdy ho, Lions fans. Welcome to the Detroit Lions podcast. This is episode 428, and it is the post-game show for the Detroit Lions and Minnesota Vikings. We're doing it live. I am your dashing host, Chris, and with me is the ultimate gorgeous man. He won't show you from the neck down because he wants this to be a proper family show today. Andy, also known as Sandman. How are you, my man?
Ugh. This is, this is the most Lions loss outside of a crazy call in forever.
Yeah.
I'm hurting.
Nick Rodriguez, games like this make me never feel safe as a Lions fan, no matter how much we end up losing by. Yeah, we'll talk a lot about this. We didn't expect this to be a therapy session until the clock started winding down, and now we're there. So what are we gonna do? We're gonna talk about today's game. We're gonna cover Coach Campbell's post-game presser live. When that happens, we'll have that on, and we'll hear what he has to say. But there's a lot to talk about with Coach Campbell's decision making today, and we'll go into that a little bit. We'll do a little roundtable, and then after we're Campbell's presser, we will take your calls. We got a whole lot going on. Great show lined up. Andy, you ready to go, my man?
Let's do it.
Let's kick this off and break it down.
All right. Woo, boy, oh boy, the emotions. That's what this is. This is a post-game show. Immediately after, the emotions are going to fly. We do a little therapy. We do a little celebration, depending what's fitting. But I'm seeing all kinds of stuff. Hutchinson was a no-show. Yeah, they handled him pretty well today. They did a good job. What can you do, right? I mean, he's not going to go out there every game. No player shows up every game and dominates. Can you make a judgment on your second overall pick based on 3 games in his rookie season, Sandman? Are you ready to call him a bust yet?
Not yet. Not yet.
Are you ready to put him in the Hall of Fame?
I do want to talk about it.
You ready to put him in the Hall of Fame?
Both can be true. Bust and Hall of Fame, same time.
Yeah, bust that Hall of Fame. All right. Let's go. Let's talk about this. We did the whole intro. Lions go into Vikings land, put up 14 to start. And I was feeling pretty good. Pretty good. And then it was like, oh, it's going to be tied at the half. Okay. That's all right. That's pretty good away. You're starting over basically 0-0 after the half. And then I felt good. And then I felt really bad. I don't know how else to put it. It's like the roller coaster today. What was your track like, Andy? What was your emotional track today?
Felt good. The offense looked great at the beginning of the game. Defense, same problems they've been having. But same as you. Looked good. And when you're away, especially in the Vikings, stadium, that's a hard place to play. It's always tight games there.
Yeah.
They never get blown out. We never blow them out for sure. But we have to be better. We can't shoot ourselves in the foot like we did today.
No. And to that point, it starts right at the very, very top, right?
Yeah.
It starts right at the very, very top. Coach Campbell, let's talk about Coach Campbell. Really quick, Okudah needs help. I just want to say, F&A, Jeff Okudah, you're a superstar, man. And all the people that dogged on him and everything up until now, whatever else the rest of it, Jeff Okudah deserves the freaking Medal of Honor because god dang, that guy has showed up. Played Justin Jefferson he was on him all day. Justin Jefferson, let's look at his stats really quick. Not spectacular. Not spectacular. He had I have to go way down the list here. 3 catches for 14 yards.
Insane. Now, I will say that this also happened to him last week, but Okudah played him insanely well. I mean, I didn't like the Okudah pick at the time, but he's here, and I'm shocked. I just still can't believe the amount of production we're getting out of a guy who tore his Achilles last year.
Yeah.
Incredible. And if his trend keeps going the way it is, that's one less piece we need to find on this defense, and honestly, we need a lot of those.
Yeah. Cornerback, Amani had a terrible game. This is probably the worst game I've seen Amani have in his career. And look, to have that many holding calls, it's not hard to call that somebody's worst game of their career.
Yeah.
But wow, that was it was a stinker. And I mean, it's not like he single-handedly lost the game for the Lions today, but he certainly was not a significant contributor of help.
No, and it's definitely one of those situations where Amani didn't play last week. He hurt his back. He had a bunch of back tightness. He only practiced, I think, full practice only Thursday and Friday. At some point, the coaches have to step in and say, hey, we're going to give you a breather.
Yep.
Like, obviously, you're still being bothered. He's feeling the need to grab and to hold instead of just running with his guy. Maybe it was injury related. Maybe it wasn't. I don't know. But when you have Will Harris sitting there, who couldn't have played any worse than Amani was today, and you never make that switch, it's a little weird.
And this goes exactly to where I think both of us are going to kind of point today, and it's going to sting for a lot of people, right? But you have to call a spade a spade. You have to, talk to, speak truth to power, whatever. But there were some serious deficiencies from coaching today, and not putting Will Harris in place of RORA when he was having those struggles. We've got Campbell on the podium. Let's pull him up really quick, and we'll talk about this afterwards. Let's listen, hear what he has to say.
I thought he was seeing it, and I thought he moved the offense, was efficient, made throws. It was really good. So, we just a couple of these third downs we got to be better on offensively, and then defense. We got to eliminate some of these penalties. We knew they're explosive offense. They got weapons over there, and we knew it would be ebbs and flows of the game. And we had our chance at the end, didn't close it out. As far as for me, I freaking regret my decision there at the end. I should have gone for it, fourth down, and I told the team that I should have gone for it. So, go ahead.
Can you just explain why you would have?
It's a lot different than the best defensive play call in the Super Bowl.
There was about three scenarios going on, and I'm not going to say what one of them was, but I just felt like, let's kick the field goal. We go up by 6 and force them to score a touchdown for the win. They'll have no timeouts, and should have gone for it.
Is that something you guys can work on to improve? Like, what's a focus level, or what do you think you guys haven't been able to close on some of these close games?
Yeah, it's one play here, one play there. One more conversion, or we get one more stop. And you just, out of the number of plays that are in there, you just say all we got to do is one of these different. And look, we had our chances. We played some pretty good football for a while. It came in spurts, and it was. I told the team, man, when the downs come, we got to handle it with composure, and when the ups come, we have to capitalize. And we didn't capitalize enough when we were on the ups, really. That's kind of how I felt.
And are you kind of mad at yourself because you have been doing it on fourth down, have made quite a few, and then changed at the end there?
I hate it. I just hate the decision. I wish I'd have put it back in their hands offensively, and so be it. Just wish I would have done that.
Yeah, the audio's on them, just so you know.
Felt like we needed to do that against this team.
They seem to have problems every week getting the sync right.
I regret that decision 100%. I really do, Dave. I hate it, and I do feel like I cost our team. I really do, man.
Similarly, at the end of the first half, we went for a fourth down instead of punting everything and deep with just a little bit of clock left. Do you feel like that decision put them in position to get some points?
Say that again, I'm sorry.
At the end of the first half, the decision to go for a fourth down seemed like it gave them a short field and better position to capitalize on it.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of felt like that's the game you play a little bit when you're going to be as aggressive as we were, as there's going to be some give and take with it, and I don't regret that. I kind of felt like that was in the flow of the game. You're going to win some and lose some, and hopefully the ones you win you'll get points out of them.
Regardless of the decision, you still have
Yeah, we just, communication. Communication, we weren't, we weren't, we were a little bit late and a little bit behind on it.
What would be your message to your team? You're up by 10, 8 minutes to go on the road, division game. Looked like you might get it. What do you say to them after this one?
Look, just listen, don't get frazzled by it. Now, I told him it should sting, it shouldn't taste good. Because we had that. And I just told him we got to learn from it, man. We got to learn from the plays that bit us in the ass. And that, there's going to be, as you know, you guys got a job to do, but there'll be a lot of criticism placed on a number of guys, myself and including the players, and which is natural. They all know it. And but man, you can't go on the downs and ups. Last week it was really good. This week, just stay true to what it is and learn from our mistakes. And just we got to go back to work Wednesday. We got another good opponent, and that's what we got to do.
Call the timeout right before that final touchdown.
Yeah, it was a tough one, that timeout there.
How frustrating is it when you call the timeout to reset the group and it still breaks down that way?
Yeah, and I was trying to get some rush. I was wanting to get our guys a little, get their lungs back a little bit, and so.
Let the clock run to right before they snap it.
Yeah,
and then
it's
you call it.
frustrating.
Burn the clock.
It's frustrating. It's frustrating.
Tracy, is there an update there?
We don't know entirely. We'll know more in the morning. It doesn't look real good, but obviously it's the ankle area. Possibly it could be the Achilles. We'll see. So we'll know more tomorrow. Mm-hmm. Yeah, listen, man, those guys are tough. They are. They're in it, man, and they give all they got. And it was, I was proud of those guys for going out there and battling. And they wanted to be in there, and they wanted to help their team. And certainly weren't 100%, but that was it was good to see those guys go back out there and compete.
Jordy, the clock was running, but he should have called. He wanted his guys to get air in their lungs, to get breath. So he should have waited till right before they snapped it, though, to call the timeout and let the clock run.
Yeah, well, it was, once we felt like Frank was going to be a go, it was, we just felt like Evan would give us the best shot at right guard, knowing that Frank was going. And, Evan's another guy. He's pretty smart, and he works well with those guys. He understands what we're doing, obviously playing the center position. And, guard's different, but he's, just working with Sewell and Frank. We felt like it was going to give us a good opportunity. I thought he played well.
New injuries obviously force you to limit Swift's carries and everything else. Do his injuries?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I would say he was, yes, that's a fair assessment.
Couple more guys? All right. The reason you had so many fourth downs was third down situation. What do you think was going wrong on third down?
Yeah, it was just a couple of things here and there. Now, some of them were also, there was a couple of them that were, I give Ben, a green light. Like he knows what's coming. And so, you're not always going to get that. You're trying to get in a more manageable fourth. You'd love to get to third, but so some of those play into it. But certainly we were just a little off on some of that stuff. Whether it was breaking the huddle and just trying to get guys in position, get the check, get the call. We're in a little bit, we were just a little bit sporadic. So we just weren't clicking. That's something we've done pretty good the last couple of weeks, and it wasn't quite there today.
And your aggressiveness is part of who you've been since you've been here. Does a game like this in any way force you to reevaluate that?
I'm sorry,
Your aggressiveness.
Oh,
Just
yeah.
who you are. Do you reevaluate that at all?
No, I'll always evaluate. I go back and watch every game, and really think about, was this the right thing to do? Was it not the right thing to do? But I do know if you're going to go in and feel like you need to be aggressive early in the game, you can't second guess when it doesn't work out for you early in the game, you know. So, you know, no, not really. It's not going to affect me. I'm going to kind of always just do what I feel is best to help us win, you know.
Tell me you're going to learn. Don't tell me it's not going to affect you.
When we were way down there yeah, I thought about it. You know, I was close. But there was a couple of other factors that I'd rather not get into just because I don't want the opponent to know. But yeah, that was one of those, man. I don't regret it, but yet it makes you think, man, should we have gone for that one?
Was coaching one of the options you were considering?
Say it again.
Was coaching one of the options you were considering?
That was a option. It wasn't the option. But
Thank you guys.
all right, thanks.
There you go. Coach Campbell. Man. So I wanted to it comes up the question. I saw Don Burr, who's one of the warriors in the chat around the internet. So I gotta talk to Don. That timeout it was, and I kind of knew when he did it. I was frustrated by it too. But when he called that last timeout, he said it was to get some air in the guys' lungs. Evidently they weren't on the field a whole lot, but whatever. He wanted to get reset. Maybe it was mentally, maybe it was physically fine. But again, in a situation like that, just let the clock run until they're getting ready to snap the ball, and then call your timeout. Burn all those seconds off the clock. Every second matters, right? And that was that was the move there. If you have to call the timeout, and then you can delay and see if you really need it. But it was kind of like running your pickup at the beginning of the draft a little early and getting the NFL angry because you didn't give them time to run their package. But all right,
I will say that it was nice to hear him say that he knows he made a mistake. What coach in the NFL does that outside of Dan Campbell? Nobody.
Yeah.
Nobody. We can crush Dan Campbell for this loss, and he should get crushed for this loss. But I don't think this is, a death sentence for him. I don't think that, this is, in the grand scheme of his time here, I don't think that this is going to be anything that special. But he does have to show that he has to learn. Now, I'm going to say that, people are like, well, why are we giving Aaron Glenn, a free pass? Why are we doing this? Why are we doing that? Nobody gets a free pass on this on this coaching staff, rather.
Nope.
Aaron Glenn's game plan sucked. His game plan sucked week 1, 2, really bad. I don't know if it's, because of the players that they have, that they don't feel like they can run what they want. Aiden's getting double teamed constantly. I think I saw a stat that he's in the top 10. He's double teamed more often than Joey Bosa per snap, which is, that's insane. Other people need to step up. If we don't have other pass rushers, then you have to manufacture it. And he's done that a little bit with safety blitzes, cornerback blitzes, but you have to do it more. Kirk Cousins had all day today. All day. Yep. He was never in danger. We had the one sack from Anzalone, but it was 6 seconds into the play. He was hanging back there forever.
And that's the key piece that they need that pass rush on Kirk Cousins. That's how you beat the Minnesota Vikings, and that's how you end their offense. I mean, look, taking out Cook was, and I'm not pro injury to players. I don't want to say that, but that's one way to slow down the offense. But that doesn't do it, right? You got to stop Cousins, and he's relatively easy to stop. You just need to keep him under pressure. You need to keep him moving. You need to get him running. I was impressed with Goff under pressure. Mm-hmm. I was joking with my son. Looks like we got our own Mahomes, because he was here watching the game, but. Cousins, not so much. You need to get that pressure on him. That is the key to winning against the Minnesota Vikings. I will push one more thing, and I don't want to. This is the kind of thing for a team like the Lions, it gets in their head, and they got to fight through it. But the calls today were ass. There was such just garbage officiating. So many holds, offensive holding, that went uncalled on the Vikings. It was just driving me nuts. And on the last drive, there's a huge one that they just let go that would have negated the play before the touchdown, I believe. And it was just because our Warrior got called on his last penalty there that they declined. It was on that play. There was a holding in the backfield, and it's like that doesn't happen. That play doesn't happen, right? I mean, it's a different outcome, right? And they just didn't call it. And I know our Warrior was no prize out there. He committed penalties like crazy today for sure, but I just want to see it work. And this is a team again that's young enough. The Lions seem to be a team who can't get penalties called in their favor. Usually, for the most part, they're generally pretty even, but it's a team that's young enough that these things can get in their head and can really stop them from doing what they're trying to do. And they have to be able to overcome those things. And I think some experience, we're the youngest team in the league, aren't we? We're second youngest team. Mm-hmm. Experience will help them get past that kind of stuff. But I mean, when they do this silly kind of crap, like it's just frustrating. It's just so frustrating.
No, it's hard to overcome that stuff. And then, once again, I didn't feel like the players were put in positions to consistently win today.
Yep.
There was just, and football is one of the, best games on planet Earth because every little thing matters.
Yep.
It all matters.
Yep.
Every decision that you make matters. And, like going for a long throw on 3rd and 1 when we could have potentially just picked up the first down and kept on moving.
Yep.
That's a weird choice.
Yep.
We're not at a place on the field to do that. If we're in their territory, you do that.
Mm-hmm.
We're not yet. We're still back in ours. We still have plenty of room to move.
Yeah.
You can talk about how Ben Johnson ran directly into 9 and 10 man fronts at the end of the game, trying to take clock off. Like, what are those? You can't do that in the NFL. You can't. There's a million ways to quote unquote run the ball without handing it off to somebody. You have bubble screens, you have toss plays, you have tons of options that are better than just running headfirst into a brick wall in the hopes of just taking off clock, which we weren't going to do anyway. They had timeouts and we're north of the 2-minute warning.
Yep.
I just feel like this staff is still struggling with game management on a fundamental level where they get caught up in what they're doing rather than what works.
Yeah. No, I think that's absolutely right. Right on point. I want to thank you, Jameson Hennessy. Again, love your name, brother, for the super chat. And again, not blaming the refs for this. Anyway, if there's anything or any one that should get the majority of the blame, it's the coaching staff. It's Dan Campbell, right? Mm-hmm. Now, Dan Campbell's young as a coach. Like many of these players are young and growing, and you expect him to make mistakes. The fact that he stood there and took it and didn't say he called the best play ever in the history of the Super Bowl, and he said, I own this, he's going back. He's going to his office and he's going to study and think and learn from it and get better. If he doesn't get better, like if we're doing this in week 12, week 13, then we've got a real issue. That's a real problem. But I don't think that's the case. I don't think that's who he is. We saw, that's who Patricia was, but I don't think that's who Campbell is. So just like the young players, he's going to grow and he's going to get better. The fact that he owns it tells you a lot about his character and his place there. So
yeah, I mean, it shows why the players love him so much.
Yep.
Like that he can walk in front of a room full of players and tell them, this was on me.
Yep.
This is on me. I should have trusted you offense.
Yep.
I shouldn't have put the defense in this position. I'm sure, they're going to go back and spend more time looking at it, or they've probably already thought about all this, but they had 3 options at the end of the game. You go for it, and the worst case scenario is you don't make it, and they do exactly what happened.
Mm-hmm.
You have kick the field goal, where worst case scenario is what happened. You have punt, which is worst case scenario, they go another 15 yards or whatever it was, because it went into the end zone.
Yep.
But the best case scenarios are what are completely different in these scenarios.
Yep.
They're like, you get the first down when going for it, game's over. You kick the field goal, they can still win with a touchdown with, this is an NFL team. They can move down the field on you, even if you make the field goal.
Yep.
There's not that much difference between what happened and what could have happened had he made it.
Yep.
Or you punt it and, you still see. But I'll make the argument that any decision that takes the worst unit on our team, which is our defense, who's missing Tracy Walker, who has a cornerback who's been playing very poorly this game.
Mm-hmm.
You cannot put the game in their hands. Why would you ever choose to do that? The offense has been hot all year. Let them try.
Yep.
And then if they fail, then let the defense, it's on you now. You have no choice. But to just take the offense out was insanity.
Yeah.
Crazy town.
I agree. Especially after you trusted them all game, to pull that trust out from under them sends the wrong message too, right? Because they executed. So a lot of talk about the kickers. I'm just telling you, watching camp, Riley was not the guy. I mean, he just was not the guy. He couldn't make it. Now, he might be looking okay today, but he was not the guy in camp. It was an easy decision to make. So there you go. Number 2 cornerback is open, Mr. Jacobs. Steve Shattuck, thank you, sir, for the super chat. Yeah, that's yes, we'll see Jerry soon. I think you're going to see Iffy next week, playing in that spot where Tracy was too, because Tracy Walker being hurt, I don't know what we got back there. And when he got injured, I looked at it and I said, "That's a torn Achilles." Yeah. The
way he reacted to it and the tests that they did to his foot on the field, I think he's done for the year.
Yeah.
I'm no doctor, but I play one on this podcast.
Yeah. But you do very well at it too. And let's talk about.
I have the handwriting down for sure.
Let's talk about playing doctor after. All right, we'll open up the phone lines. 248-782-8384, 248-782-8384. We'll take your calls and we'll talk through the game. It's a therapy session, right? This is all right. 9-iron was good this game. Get a first caller going here. Hey caller, what's your name? How much you had to drink?
Hey, my name's Lucas. I haven't had anything to drink today, unfortunately. Although after that, I feel like I should just drink everything.
Still time.
It's a good time to start.
True. All 1 o'clock games, plenty of drinking time afterwards.
Picked a bad week to stop sniffing glue. What do you got, Lucas? What do you got for us, brother?
So I'm just super frustrated with Dan Campbell in this case because, while all the penalties, everything. They were overcoming all of them. And when it came down to the fourth quarter, to me, it looked like the coaches were just like, we don't trust our team to execute anymore. So we're just going to try to run out the clock. And like you said, I mean, they were doing runs straight up the middle and getting nothing. And it's to me, that signals to the team, I don't trust you to do what you've been doing the whole game. And then on top of that, all these times where he's come out, where he took the timeout before half because I really wanted the ball back. Okay, whether that's good or not, it's okay, Dan Campbell, you're an aggressive dude. I get it. I respect it. Then you're going to come out, do all these fourth downs, and then and convert on a lot of them. And then when you have a chance to seal out the game, you're going to bring out a kicker who's already missed for his longest ever field goal, as you guys said, to put them up where they have to score a touchdown. That's some impossible thing for an NFL team to do. It's it all rings hollow now. What was this suddenly? Oh, we don't want to get too aggressive now. It's go for it. Finish the game. Let your offense, don't keep running it. Let him do the passes. The passes are working. Goff was looking great. I thought he had a great game. He avoided a ton of sacks, which every time he did his turn, I was like, oh God, here it goes again. But he got away every time.
Yep.
And I was like, okay, great. Goff's looking good. Everyone's looking good. Oh no, we're going to bring out a special teams unit to really not do anything. And if you're that concerned about field position, then at least punt the ball. Here's
the bigger risk.
It's very frustrating.
And the risk is beyond just this game. Because one of the things this coaching staff has, and everybody's seen it and talked about it, is 100% of the players are 100% in on these coaches. And when the coaching staff makes a decision that says, we don't trust you, and I don't think it was a they don't trust them thing. I think the coaches outthought themselves. To be completely frank, I don't think it was based on the players or it had anything to do with the players, which is its own mistake, right? But the message it sends is we don't trust you, and that in the other way means the players may not trust you either, because you're starting to get into your own head, outthinking yourself, and how can we trust you to lead? Will that happen after one game? Doubtful. I think that mea culpa that you saw from Coach on the podium, I think he's going to take that to the locker room. I think he's going to own the mistakes that he made and the coaching staff made. This is like that first kind of crack, right? And can it get sealed? Can they move on? Well, they've got 3 games that they should win coming up, to be fair and honest, based on this team and the quality that we've seen from them, even the 2 losses. They've got 3 that they should win coming up. That's going to cure anything and everything for them, for the players and the coaching staff and all that. But I was worried about this game because I knew this was a must-win game for fans. The fans were really, really high after that win over the Commanders. Fans were like, and then what Philadelphia did to Minnesota, the transitive properties, right? I mean, people were just like walking in. Vegas had Minnesota ahead for this game. I mean, everybody where the money was said, Minnesota's going to win. So this is a tough one for the fans. This is a tough one because one that win brings the fans' belief and solidifies it.
Yeah, I agree with you completely on that. And honestly, like, if they had gone for on the fourth, that last 4th down, and it didn't work and they lost, I feel like I could at least be like, okay, I respect you for going for it. I get you wanting to put the game away. The defense did not step up. Not a huge shock because they were struggling all game. But it's just it's almost like you said, it's the cracks you were about, but it's also kind of cracks with the fan base. Like, anyone who's either on edge or was, Dan Campbell, I really trusted him, and I was like, okay, I respect him being aggressive. To see that kind of call, it's just like, oh, so you're not who you say you. There's almost like, oh, okay, so you're not gonna just punch people in the mouth and bite the kneecaps. You're gonna, we'll flop it. Here's the ball, and we'll just run around and go ahead and score. That's kind of what it feels like. And like you said, it's one game. I'm sure tomorrow things will be calmed down a bit, but right now it just it's a sting, like, to see like this aggressive. Oh yeah, I'm gonna punch people in the mouth. We're gonna bite their kneecaps, and then, oh yeah, I went for a field goal that, in the grand scheme, if we had made it, wouldn't have really done anything.
The real issue here is that Dan Campbell wants to be insanely aggressive, which is fine. He's the first coach that really has pushed it this far.
Yeah.
And that's okay to do that. But if you don't have consistency with it, or if you don't have some sort of design that you want to meet with when you do it and how you do it, you're going to end up with games like this where, we went for it on, the drive earlier and failed on the 4th and 1 conversion. That gave them the ball at a crazy location. You have to start wondering, that's a step on their throat type of move. But punting there, there's a reason most other people punt in that scenario. Yeah. That's because you're going to make them go down the field. Mm-hmm. So if you're going to be like that, you have to be like that all the time. And when Dan Campbell came out and he said, oh, we're using metrics, we're using whatever, like, if this says that we should go for it on 4th down because that makes the most sense, we're going to do it. That's great. But then when you have games like this, you can say Dan Campbell was using his brain, not analytics. He was basing it off of feelings. How do I feel?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like we're going to get it. Or, I don't know. I didn't feel that good. That's why I kicked the field goal.
Campbellytics.
Yeah. Yeah. It's weird. It's weird. It's hard to justify that sort of stuff.
Analytics. All right. Hey, we have a caller. Hey, caller, what's your name? How much have you had to drink?
Nick, and I have not started drinking yet because I got work tomorrow, but I'm about to right now after that.
I feel you, brother. How you doing, Nick? What do you got?
So I got a couple points. Probably the biggest point I want to mention is on that second to last drive where we were driving the ball. We are snapping the ball with maybe 15 seconds to go on the play clock we probably did that 4 or 5 times. Mm-hmm. I think that was the most egregious coaching decision in the fourth quarter to me. Yep. Second point is this kicker, ever since we lost Matt Prater, anytime we go up to kick a field goal, I am just uneasy. I don't feel confident about it. And we got Rodrigo Blankenship in free agency that I think we should give a shot. I'm tired of these kickers and not feeling confident in them.
I agree.
Yeah.
It's it all comes back to this was a lot of people are going to point to the one mistake that Campbell made by not going for it on fourth down there. But you're right. There were so many small, minuscule mistakes that kind of point to the coaching staff not having an end of game plan. So it isn't like, okay, we're trying to run out the clock, so then you do everything to run out the clock. They're just not there yet. I don't know why they're not there. It doesn't, as a fan, it always seems easy peasy to not make time errors. We're not down on the field, but no, this was pretty egregious all the way around. So, if they need to hire somebody to help Dan Campbell out with clock management, if they need to do whatever, it has to happen. It does.
Yep. All right, Nick. Appreciate the call, my man. We got a bunch of people rolling in. We're gonna grab a couple other ones. Thanks for the call. Let's grab one right here. We got one. Hey, caller, what's your name? How much you had to drink?
Hey guys, my name's Todd. I'm calling from Athens, Georgia. I've had about 4 Tropicalias and 4 Jamesons. I've been listening to you guys for years. I love the content you put out.
Thanks, brother.
It's amazing.
Thank you.
Man, that fourth down at the end, why didn't we go for it? That's killing me. We got Penei Sewell, first-round draft pick. We have the great offense, the great offensive line, Ben Johnson, and we put it in the kicker's hand, who's a below-average player. Why didn't we give our offense the opportunity? And I love Dan Campbell, and I love Brad Holmes, and but that decision is just killing me.
Caller, give me 1 second. I'm gonna hold up with you. I got Jared Goff at the presser. Let me pull him up, okay?
Would have been over long before they were able to get back in it, and I'm sure they know that. But we let them back in it, and that's our fault.
Jared, any idea why third down has been kind of such an area that's snake-bitten you guys these past 2 games?
I think a lot of the times we were playing with 2 downs. So, the numbers may look poor, but we're converting on fourth, and we're doing it somewhat on purpose. It's not always that way, but there's some where we're throwing it short of the sticks and knowing that, okay, we're 4th and 2, we're going to go for it. And yeah.
Jerry, how much do you fight, I guess, on the sidelines to go for it on that final 4th down?
I wish I would have. Yeah, I wish I would have. I didn't as much as I wish I would have. That was tough. That was a tough spot, man. It's a tough decision. Obviously, if we make the field goal and we stop them on defense, there's no question about it, right? But it's tough. It was 4th and 4. You're kind of in that tweener zone. You could even discuss to punt it in some scenarios, but ultimately, I think, I wish I would have said something to Dan. I didn't, and I'm sure he would have let us have it if I had done that.
Damn, that's ownership too.
Yeah. Again, yeah. I mean, he's going to make a game winner for us at some point, so he's going to have to keep his head up and keep chugging along every day. But it shouldn't have came down to that. It really shouldn't have. We had 2 drives there, 4th and 1, and then the following drive off the turnover on downs where get a couple first downs, throw a couple completions, a couple efficient runs, and the game's over.
Jared, you guys were having 4th down so much. It almost seems like you have to vary it. We can't just run it ahead, and there was a couple of missed passes or incompletions on 3rd and 4th and short. Is that just because you can't run it every single time in all those 4th downs?
I'm not sure what
the hell are you talking about?
Right.
People would wonder why are you throwing the ball there.
Oh yeah, we were 4 of 6 today. I don't know how many were runs and passes on 4th down. 3rd and 2. Yeah, I mean that's a better question for Ben. I'll do either, and you can argue either. I'm sure we'll lean typically towards what's converting more for us, but you can do either.
On other teams you've been on, what's been the thing that pushes you over this hump?
Belief in each other and full execution there at the end of the game. all these games are going to be one score. Every single one of them we're in, for the most part, are going to be one score games. Even that Washington game got dicey there towards the end. Like, the NFL is so good, being in a position to win the game, even once, get a couple first downs and the game's over is a gift, and you need to take advantage of it. And we didn't, and I own a lot of that. But we got 2 chances today to put it away, and we didn't.
We've seen the offensive line and the way they played. Obviously, that's a pretty good front there, but
Yeah.
4 sacks, 2 hits on you, I think. Also.
Yeah, they played great. They played really good. Those 2 edge rushers are a real deal now, and I thought they did a great job. Keep me upright, and then the run game as well. You know, we got a lot of good things going there, and they've been really gelling together. I thought having Frank back this week was helpful, and it looked good.
I was also going to ask about the offensive line, but you had some elusiveness in the pocket. Was that something you identified in film, or is that just a feel thing at the moment?
Yeah, I just did it a little bit more today. I don't think I was anticipating doing it. Yeah, I don't know.
You guys got Chark going early in this game.
Yep.
The first 1 weeks.
Not seeing Chark late was, I think, a problem.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, Ben was very aware of that, and I'm very aware of it too. Like, we want to get the guys that need the ball, and he's one of them. And I think the biggest one that's still hurting me right now is that crosser we had to him, just off his hand. I just missed him. I'm sure he'd say I could have made that catch, but no, I got to make a better throw, and that may have broken the game wide open. I think we were up 10, and that one's the one that kind of still hurts me. But he's a great player. Sorry to answer your question. He's a great player, and we need to get him the ball as much as possible.
What have you learned about the running game that you're facing? It seems like no matter who's in the back, it looks
Yeah. Yeah, we've got a deep running game in both players and scheme, and you know, obviously up front we're kind of getting to the point where we can kind of run any type of run, whether it's gap scheme, wide zone, inside zone, some of the jet sweep stuff. We've been having success at kind of all of it, which is really good for an offense and opens it up like you saw today. I mean, there was a lot of really good moments for us today, but again, you'd love to be standing here saying, you know, and then we did that run that finished the game, and or that pass that finished, whatever it may be, and yeah, it sucks.
Probably no better than most of some of your teammates that are out sort of every week, maybe in a so it goes out there. Josh,
Yeah. Yeah, that's what happens. I mean, they're tough guys. I know they'll fight through it, but yeah, every team's gonna deal with something like that, and it's next man up, right? And we feel good about our depth.
What do you look at right guard?
I'm sorry?
Evan Brown maybe started right guard.
Yeah, Evan did good. I've got a lot of experience with Evan, and I thought he stepped in there well. I don't know how many times he's played guard, but I'd have to watch it. But I felt like he did a good job out there, and was really dialed in. I thought that was really good with the O-line this week specifically, is how dialed and focused they were. And I had a lot of guys in there who have a lot of experience. The skipper is the least one, but he's so focused himself. But I thought they did a good job.
We know that you, in this locker room, you're leading voice in that locker room. So what do you need to say, if anything, that helped you take them with the loss of this?
Yeah, I think
almost back color.
I think the idea that we're close, kind of what I spoke to earlier, like yeah, like we're getting better, and yeah, sure, that was close to winning, but like, no, we're there. Like, our defense played well, our offense played well. We just have to finish and make 2 or 3 more plays at the end of the game, and we are having a completely different conversation right now. And now you're going to say, well, that is close, and I know, but we did it last week. Like, we can do it. We know we can do it. We have the guys who can do it. We have the coaches who can do it, and just need to do it. And you know, what is that reason why? I don't know, but I know it. I know we have the guys here to solve those problems, and it's not close. It's there. Like, we just need to do it. If that makes sense. I know it's kind of convoluted, but you know what I mean. All right.
All right, that is it for Jared Goff. I think he did pretty good there.
I'm going to be honest. Both those pressers are about as good of pressers after a loss like that as you can have.
Yep. All right,
I would
Todd.
argue.
Todd, we're back. Sorry, we didn't. We had to get Jared in. He decided he wanted to talk while you were talking, and I'm assuming he makes probably a little more than you did, so we grabbed his time, bro.
Yeah. Can you still hear me?
Yeah, we got you.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I mean, I love Dan and I love Brad, and I'm like all on board on everything, but the big frustrating thing was that 4th and 4 at the end of the game where we invested in Penei Sewell, and we have a top offense in the league, and we have Swift and Amon-Ra, like, why did we not go for it on 4th and 4 to seal the game? Instead, we have some kicker that, like, is just like an average kicker, and that was so frustrating. I live in Athens, Georgia, and, like, you know, fans from all over, because there was a home game yesterday, and, like, the whole bar is like Lions fans, but they have their teams from all around the country. Like, everybody who has their home team, their secondary team is like a Lions fan right now, you know, and they were like rooting so hard, and it was awesome. And that 4th and 4 just like upset me, and I just love Dan so much, and I wish. And I was reading on tweets and everything that he regretted it, but my goodness, I mean, Minnesota's out of timeouts. 4 yards is all we needed, you know?
Yep.
And that just like kind of broke my heart a little bit on that one.
I'm with you, brother. I'm with you. It's season defeat from the jaws of victory can be a frustrating thing to do, and here we are again.
Yeah.
And it's tough. It's tough to have a team that's growing and learning, right? But that's what it is from a coaching perspective, from a player perspective. Injuries didn't help. You know, it's as always, it's a series of things that came together to kind of gave us the result we got.
Yeah.
All right, brother.
And then maybe one other thing before I go, like, maybe someone else mentioned it, but like, how many times did Hawkinson like cut a route short on like 3rd and 3 or like 4th and 2? Like, did anybody else notice that? He cut the route short by a yard. And was that just me or like?
No, I saw it.
Cut his route short.
And
yeah, it was just like, I don't know, man. I just love the team. I'm just like, they were not supposed to win, and they're not supposed to be this good, but I have so much hope for them. Like, I'm really like a little brokenhearted about it, but. You know, we got a coach. Even everybody at the bar is like, "Oh my God, Dan Campbell! We love Dan Campbell," and like, you know, Brad Holmes, and like, we're doing great. But my God, we should have won that goddamn game. We should have won that game.
Yep. All right, brother. I'm gonna let some other callers in. You are correct.
Okay.
I'm with you 100%.
Okay. Take care.
All right, brother. We'll talk to you.
All right, man. Take care. Bye-bye.
All right. There you go, Todd. Yeah, I think he makes a good point in the piece that we want them to be further than they are. We started the year, we said, 7 wins is probably the top side of what we're going to get today, out of this team. And the 2 losses they had were close. They were close. It makes it harder to take. It's harder to take, man. It is what it is. It's just the way the ball bounces sometimes. Yep. All right, we got another caller. Let's pull him in. Hey, caller, what's your name? And how much have you had to drink?
Hey, this is Antonio Harper.
Hey, Antonio, how you doing?
Hey, just calling about the game.
Yeah. What do you got?
Hey, Antonio Harper.
You should probably turn your volume down a little bit. It gets a little confusing.
Yeah, I feel like we shot our foot with the 4th downs, man. Like, we could have took some of those 3 points.
Oh, you're thinking we could have gone, instead of going for it on all those 4th downs, just take the 3, take the 3, take the 3?
Yeah.
That's something, you know what? That's something we'll look back at. Because, I mean, you're right. I mean, we got to look at how many did we, because there was one where my wife was saying we should have done that, and I was like, well, we got a touchdown out of that drive, though. And it's like, oh, well, yeah, that is 4 points more than we would have gotten. So, but I think, there's something to be said. I gotta go back and look again and see what the differential is on those, and then it gets hard, right? I mean, because now when you start splitting it, is it 3 or would it be 7, and which is which, and how do you don't know what you're gonna get, and it's kind of, you got to make a decision. It gets a little bit, it gets a lot Monday morning at that point. You know what I mean?
And Warrior seemed like, I feel like we need to cut him, or he was acting like the same old Lions in the past. All those penalties, he killed us.
He hurt us bad. He had the worst game I've ever seen him have, and I have a feeling we'll probably see some switch ups. We may see, and this is where it's going to be interesting as a coach. Amani was hurt, and he came in. Sandman was talking about it earlier, that maybe it's where you go and you say, Amani, sit. This is obviously bothering you, and you put Will Harrison. And what does that do to Amani as a player? Just getting torched like that with the flags all game long. You talk about cornerback. It is a in your head position, right? You have to have a short memory. You have to be very clean minded playing that position. Forget about things, but getting torched like he did, man, that's a hard one to shake. Sandman, I mean, you've gotten flagged a lot. I mean,
yeah, I mean it's.
How about saying? And how about say, like, do we rest DeAndre Swift next week? Because don't we got the Seahawks next week?
That's a good question. I'm going to leave that one to Andy, and I'm going to let you go, okay, Anthony? Because we're gonna answer that. We're going to get some of the other calls.
Yeah,
all right, brother. Thank you.
I missed that last question. It was a little jumbly in my headset.
Go ahead. Grab the question you were gonna answer.
I don't even remember that one either. I did hear about Swift. I and I don't know if this was what he was asking, but I am concerned about next week because all of a sudden we were a fairly healthy team that had a few guys that were nicked up. The offensive line obviously had issues, but that was still rolling. Mm-hmm. And now we've got ankles all over the place. Swift, he played, but you could tell he's not anywhere close to being what he should be. I'm a little shocked. Like, why are we even playing him at this point? Rest him up. This is a long season. Like, I don't want a 60% Swift for 5 games. I'd rather have a fully healthy Swift for 4 or 3. Yeah. Now, Amon-Ra, I guess we'll see how he goes. I don't know if we saw Josh Reynolds come back after he, collided with Khalif Raymond. We could literally be down our top 3 weapons next week. After this brutal of a loss, it's going to be a little gnarly.
Yeah, and of course Gino was looking great last I saw him. We'll see what he does this week. If it was just a situation, or if it was the emotion of the game against Russ, but Andy.
This is a tough one, man. This is, I tweeted about it. I said, this is the maddest I've been after a Lions game in a long time. And, I think that that's probably true for a lot of people, that this one was extra frustrating. The Lions lose all the time. Losing is part of being a Lions fan. But when you lose like this, and that's the big gripe that people have against a lot of the really crappy calls that have happened to us over the years. The batted ball. All these things cost us games.
Yep.
And they weren't necessarily the players' faults. We weren't beaten because the other team was better than us. We were beaten because of some outside issue that is 100% controllable.
Yep.
It's not a talent thing. And if we're going to take, solace out of anything this week, it was that we should have won this game. We have the talent to compete in this league.
Yep.
And a few better choices. And, we're not, like Jared Goff said, we're not having this sort of discussion. We're having a much happier one.
Yep. Flounder, thank you, sir, for the super chat. Tough loss, but expected to be an L. Lots of guys hurt before and during. Team made it competitive, and the general level of talent and experience coaching showed. Stay positive. I'm with you. I think it's a learning spot. If we see this in week 10 or week 12, it's a different conversation, I think. But it is what it is. Hey, caller, what's your name? How much you had to drink?
Weston 4.
Say again?
Weston and 4.
Weston and 4. Got it. How you doing, man? What do you got for us?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm a Vikings fan, but I love this Detroit team. Your team is solid. I love the defense. I love the running game. This is a game we should have lost. So I'm not here to gloat at all, but that team is solid. You guys got a team.
And as a Vikings fan, you're not used to that, right? As a Vikings fan, you're not used to the Lions having a team, right? I mean, year in, year out, you would kind of mark that at the beginning of the season as probably a W, right?
Well, if you're a real Lions season, we suck as well. But so we got a receiver, we got a running back, a little of this, a little of that, but yeah. This team's good. You guys got a good team. I thought we were going to lose this game, and I was really surprised we came up from behind. And no fucking, sorry. No
Sorry.
shut up, but
Yeah, you know, one of the things that hurts a little, and I'm sorry to talk over you, Andy. I'm just gobbling on the mic here, but I would have loved, and maybe it's later in the season is when we're going to get it, but I would have seen Jameson Williams, especially after the draft day trades that got us Williams, to be able to play him against you guys today. But it's probably, I mean, that's one of those things that makes that trade more valuable for you guys, is that weapon wasn't on the field for the first game of the season, right?
yeah, I haven't really seen any draft guys for 2 years. Well, we got Justin Jefferson.
Yeah.
And since then, we've just been playing pawns. We got Scene, we got Asamoah, and we're hoping they develop, but I think the Lions are in there. So,
yeah.
Good job, guys.
All right. Thank you, brother. Appreciate it. Best of luck this year, except when you play the Lions, Weston. We'll talk to you, my man. All right. Now, hey, man, it's cool to get a cool fan of the other team on. I mean, so many of them had to hit them with the one-liners, right?
Yeah, and this, and this is one of those games where I think we can both say that the Vikings and the Lions are kind of in similar positions, to be honest. The Vikings have pieces, but they're not complete. This is why games like this are so close, and props to them for being able to make it happen at the end, and we couldn't get it done.
Yeah, it is what it is. Both teams have, quarterback questions. I would say from a Lions perspective right now, Goff is on the rise. Cousins probably heading in the other direction.
Mm-hmm.
Cousins, I believe, is a lot more expensive than Goff too. If I don't remember. I know he's got it all guaranteed, but
yeah, it's a crazy contract. But
yeah. So, what do you think, Andy? Where's your head at with the defense as a whole? Let's talk about that defensive line.
Oh, the defensive line is really problematic for me. And once again, there's so many excuses that can be made about all of this, but I don't know if any of them matter. Pascal is injured, not playing. Romeo is injured, not playing. Arguably those are two pass rush guys that we just don't have access to. But Hutch can't do it by himself, and it's becoming painfully obvious that he literally isn't Superman. He's not going to beat double teams 80% of his snaps and get to the quarterback. That just doesn't happen without somebody else helping. Even some of his sacks last week were cleanups where the other guys did manage to get pressure, and he was in the place he was supposed to be and was able to make a play. But you can't, that just didn't happen today. And I don't think it's going to happen without either them changing the scheme to get him more one-on-ones somehow, however that is, or by dialing up other pressure where, we can force things that don't happen naturally. But I honestly, this defense is going to go as the defensive line goes.
Yeah.
Our cornerbacks and stuff, for all the crap that, Owarie is going to get today, for the most part, I felt like we held their wide receivers to a pretty good number. I don't remember getting blasted on any major plays. I don't think they had any too many big chunk plays outside the touchdown at the end. But when you have no pressure, you can't do anything as a defense. There's nothing that can happen.
We saw Hutchinson get shut down in playing for Michigan in the attempt to run at the national championship. I think that's what teams are going to do. And when you have kind of a dearth of talent in the other positions, right? One guy can't carry a whole line. I mean, the line is generally 3-4 guys, right? I do want to give props to Charles Harris today for the play at the end of the second half to run the clock out. That was the slyest, coolest little move. Knocking the ball out and that ran the clock just long enough. I loved that. That was awesome.
It's not cheating
play.
If you don't get caught.
That's right. That's right. I loved that play. That was, for once, I felt like, we got our due on that.
I'm excited to hear the NFL's response to that. I'm sure that some letter is going to get posted about that.
Oh, I'm sure he'll be suspended for 6 weeks over that one, right? Because their use of justice is a mess. Cook was out. Jefferson did nothing. That's huge. To shut down Justin Jefferson, I think, is a really, really big deal. We'll see how that goes this year because it's happened now 2 weeks in a row, and I don't know if we saw something that Philadelphia did. We kept him bracketed, and he got, what was it, 14 yards or something like that? Yeah, 14 yards and 3 receptions. That was great. That was really, really great, and that's the kind of thing you need to see out of your defense. You needed more pressure, and I'm trying to think. The Minnesota offensive line is good, not great. It's kind of good, right? That's it. We should have done better. McNeil, God, he popped a dude. I forget who he hit, but Rager. He caught the ball, came trying to cut it inside, and just hit a brick wall. Love McNeil. He's such a gentle giant too. But yeah, that was good. Just not the pressure, not what we needed to see out of that line. And just like you said, where the line goes, this defense is going to go.
Yep, and honestly, we can see that in the games that they've played already. We were dominating Washington's offensive line in the first half, and then the second half, the guys come out. They're a little tired, as that happens.
Yep.
None of these guys are machines. And then as soon as our pass rush started to slow down, their offense started to come back, and literally same thing, exact same.
I'm seeing in the Slack the most recent trend. I want Will Harris at CB2. GD it. Will Harris, that poor guy, gets love and hate, and I don't know that he'll ever. I don't know what it's going to take. I don't know what it's going to take to get him to be loved or hated. He's just
and it's one of those things too that we can talk about Owarie's play in coverage, but at the beginning of the game he wasn't making run fits either. He was missing tackles. He looked like he was a little afraid of contact.
Yep.
Which maybe he is because of his back.
Right.
But at the same time, do you play a guy like that? Will Harris makes those tackles. Will Harris pushes those guys out of bounds. Even if he gives up a couple of passes, it's hard to argue that Will Harris might not have just plain old been more effective.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, okay. Let's see. We'll get to the thing. You want to give us a call, 248-782-8384, 248-782-8384. We'll take your calls, have you on. Jared Goff out there, he did, again, he looked pretty good. We scored 24 points. That's a total now of, what was it, 69 plus 24? 90 some points in 3 games. Hutch is averaging one second game, by the way. That's a great rate if you can average that all year. 17 sack season. But Goff looked good. The offensive line, Skip was out there again doing Skip type things. It was good to see him. He's an easy guy to love. He really is. Dan Skipper's a good cat. The offensive line pretty much held up, right? There was a couple times where we saw athletic Goff. Reminded me of Mahomes. I'm sure you felt the same way, Sandman.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, honestly, this may have been the best Goff looked in a Lions jersey, I would argue. It just like he was escaping the pocket. His pocket presence was fantastic when he was in there. Every quarterback misses some throws here or there. I felt like he made good decisions most of the time. I think Goff is trending up. People are still talking like, oh, well, we can take a quarterback next year with the Rams pick. And if Goff continues to play like this, I don't think that's in the cards. I think Goff will be our quarterback.
Yeah.
Moving forward.
Yeah, absolutely.
If he continues to play like this.
Yeah. He's young enough. And we'll see how things fall next year. It's a long time. It's a long time till we get to the point where we decide whether we're going to draft a quarterback or not. But he is looking good, and all it took was getting him some receivers. Now, Caleb Raymond and Josh Reynolds, that one was a little bit scary.
That was pretty scary.
And I can't help but think that it was Raymond that was in the wrong position there. You know what I mean?
Well, if you look at it, he was going for the pick, but he was definitely basically tackled like 15 yards down the field, and the refs didn't call it.
Mm-hmm.
He basically got tackled and pushed down into Reynolds' legs. Not to put any more blame on the refs here, but that just, they're not supposed to be that close. Raymond fell down and stumbled, and Hopefully Reynolds is okay. I haven't seen anything about him, so
And that's
hopefully he just was a little scared.
That's the thing. I don't think you're putting blame on the refs. I think it's accountability, just like holding the coaches accountable for poor decision making. When the refs miss it, they got to be. There's accountability.
Mm-hmm.
They do what they do, and I don't like it. Goff scared the crap out of me on that slide, though. Thought he was coming out of the game. Looked scary. Corey Troop. Yeah. Man, I didn't like that at all. But
no, that was super sketchy. Like he started to run it, and I thought, oh, maybe there's a gap. And then when it closed, I thought, just fall down. And he
did. And then he took a shot. And I'm like, if that's Mahomes gets the flag.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And if it's Cam Newton, the guy could have came in 3 seconds later and done it. And
exactly.
He still wouldn't have got the flag.
Ah, man, that was ugly. I want to really throw out a thanks to Bullets. Thank you for the sub, man. Thank you for subscribing to the channel. If you guys are out there, hit the like button, hit the subscribe. It's cheap, it's easy, it's free. It takes just a second, helps us do our thing, helps people find us through the magic YouTube algorithm. But those likes and those subscribes do help us get our noses out there and help us create more content. So thank you all for that. Jordy says Goff's pocket presence looked elite. He was great. He was absolutely great today. Marcus, yes, poorly coached game. You are correct. Goff is not the problem. Not today. He wasn't. Not today. I don't think he has been. I mean, look, we've put 35 points at least on the board in 2 games. This one, 24, isn't bad. 20, you should be able to win games with 24 points. You should be able to win games with 35 points for sure. 24 should win a game. So you just have to start thinking, why is those point totals not winning the games that they should be?
Yep. And I'm sure we're going to have a lot more discussions about it, especially once the all 22 film comes out about this game. But yeah, I mean, Aaron Glenn doesn't have all of the pieces on his chessboard, but at the same time, no real excuses. You got to make it work with what you've got. And so far, not so good.
Yep.
Not so good.
Corey, why aren't we scheming some jump balls for Chark? The dude's 6'4". I was absolutely, why are we not using Chark? Especially in that last desperation drive. I just feel like he's got the speed, he's got the size. We should be putting that ball up for him. And I just don't know why we didn't. It didn't feel good at all. Andy's got nothing to say.
No, I got nothing. Nothing.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Full Metal Savage. Thank you, sir, for the super chat. 97.1 topic for tomorrow. Should Dan Campbell be fired? Yeah, and the one that street
the long and short is absolutely not. I think we need to keep in mind too that Dan Campbell's still new to this. Now that's not an excuse for what transpired today, but he is still new to this. He admitted that he made a mistake. And, I'm sure all of you know that when you can admit that you've made a mistake, that's the first step towards remedying said mistake. And if him and the coaching staff can do that, he deserves time. I don't, this team is bought in other ways. It just hasn't happened on the field yet. But it will, if, we have more of games like this, if we go 3 wins again,
yep,
it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough, but we also have to think about Ben Johnson and his part in this.
Yeah.
Calling some, I don't necessarily want to call them stinkers, but maybe they weren't the proper play call for the scenario. There was a bunch of those today.
If you're as creative,
we have to keep in mind that he's young too.
Yep.
He's new at this too.
Yep.
He didn't call any plays last year, correct? It was all still Dan Campbell.
They did it together. They both called plays, and you didn't know who was actually calling them, but it was actually I think Dan is the one who cycled the play in, but they
and I think we have to give him a little bit of time too. And honestly, it's kind of hard to really bash on Ben because the offense has looked so good.
Yeah,
it's 4 or 5 plays in a game shouldn't matter if you're that much better. The issue is that the Lions aren't that much better than anybody.
So it's 4 minutes and less with a lead is what we have to work on. I mean, that it feels like the rest of the game we're in pretty good shape. Whether we're ahead or behind, we have some really good play calling, But when we get to 4 minutes left, if we have the lead, we're not sure exactly how to do that well. And I think that's probably something they'll work on. Again, if we're talking about this in week 10 or 12, then it's a real issue. Dale brought something up, and I'm not sure it's going to go the way he wanted it. Chark's value will show when Jamison Williams steps on the field. That could go two ways, right? Like if Williams steps on the field and just bulls out, because my sense is he's going to step into Chark's position. Yeah. That's going to show
honestly,
you some,
yeah. I think when Williams comes back, Chark's the odd man out. As crazy as that would have sounded at the beginning of this season, I think Chark has done the least out of any of the wide receivers. Obviously, like, we're still playing Khalif Raymond, and there's room for 5 wide receiver sets and 4 wide receiver sets. But yeah, I think Chark is the odd man out. Just Goff and Reynolds have a connection, that you can't ignore. Amon-Ra is Amon-Ra.
Yep.
Unless they start pulling Hawkinson out, which, I wouldn't hate too much.
No. That's going to be an unpopular opinion, but I'm with you on that.
He's gone. He's not coming back. They're not paying him any money.
No, and I don't think they should. I don't think they should.
Yeah, start slowly peeling the name off of your 88 jerseys and hope they get somebody cool that you can iron something on.
And we had that conversation last season about Hawkinson, and he did not trend in the direction I expected. So I got it. Let me give the. There's the Andy was right horn. As of now, Andy gets the horn. He's right. Horny Andy. Dave. Really quick before I get to Dave. Steve-O, not having St. Brown at 100% seemed to change the way Ben Johnson called the offense. St. Brown is the safety blanket on those 3rd and 5. Yeah, St. Brown is absolutely a difference maker out there. And then also losing Reynolds. He's a safety blanket for Goff. Taking both those guys out puts you almost in last year's situation with the receiver core.
Yeah, and Campbell came out in his presser and said there were 3 reasons why we didn't go for it. I don't want to talk about 2 of them, and honestly, I think that those reasons were that the wide receivers were hurt. Swift is hurt. I think the defense knows that, and it does make it a riskier call.
Yep.
I still think it's the right call, but it is a little scarier when Amon-Ra's hurt, Swift's hurt, Reynolds is who knows
your
what.
Offense pivots on them, right? And on their play, because both from a misdirection, from a they're going to get the ball or they don't get the ball, your offense pivots. If they're not there, that changes the way a defense is going to cover you. Dave Griffiths, thank you, sir, for the super chat. This team needs Jerry Jacobs. I'll try to do this. I know the guy. This team needs Jerry Jacobs back and healthy in the worst way. Okudah can't do it by himself in the secondary. I wouldn't be surprised if we see Jerry pretty soon.
Nudge, nudge. Wink, wink.
Know what I mean? So, yeah. And then with Tracy Walker, God, I feel I want to pause really quick. I feel bad for Tracy Walker. Not just because of the injury. I mean, on one hand, hey, he just had a kid, so he's going to get some time to spend with the kid, right?
Yeah.
Hey, there's an upside. But poor guy. I mean, just had one of the the best things can happen to you as a parent, and then he gets injured. I mean, 2 screaming extremes of the spectrum. Hey, caller, what's your name? How much have you had to drink? Caller?
My name is Andy Zarafa, and I've had more than I can imagine.
Wow. I don't know what kind of imagination you have, but that sounds like a lot. What do you got for us, bro?
I got on pretty quick. So here's the thing. I'm hearing a lot of Lions fans like same old Lions and pissed off and angry, and I get it. I've been a Lions fan since Barry Sanders ran against the Chicago Bears back in 91. And what I got to say is they've got something that's a little different this year. And I love the fact that Campbell just came out. I mean, if you're going to get pissed off at Campbell for acknowledging that he made a mistake, we all have to recognize, we have to look inwardly there. I think he's doing the best he can, and I think he's going to get there, and I think our team is going to get there. We had our best offensive running back and receiver hurt and we were still within 4 points of a game that nobody expected us to win. So I'm kind of pissed off at Lions fans, frankly, and I'm really still excited, and I can't wait to get back to Detroit and cheer my brains out for this team, because I love what we're doing. I love the heart we're putting into this, and I just wanted to say it.
There you go.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. I honestly, there's two sides to this. 100%. There's people like you who I kind of agree with. You know, like, I'm very upset about this loss, but at the end of the day, you know, was this a we have to win this game? No. Was it a we should win this game? Not necessarily. You know, the Vikings are always a tough out. You know, and we do have to give Dan credit for coming out and talking and saying that what he did was wrong and that he's hopefully going to change it and make better choices in the future. But at the same time, he is a second-year head coach. He is somebody who theoretically should know how the game works. He played in the NFL for a long time. And some of these mistakes are bad enough and in weird scenarios that they're hard to overlook. You know, it's not a this or that scenario. Some of these are objectively the wrong choice to make. And that does muddy it a little bit. But I'm with you. I'm not out on Dan. I don't think Dan's a bad coach by any stretch of the imagination. I think this game was bad. And I think I can leave it at that. But
yeah, a month ago, this was a 7-win team, right?
Yeah, exactly. And so here's what I got to say to you guys, because I live in the northern suburbs of Chicago, and I drive to Detroit now because I'm a season ticket holder now, thanks to my lovely wife who was indoctrinated into the draft process with Aiden Hutchinson coming in. And I listen to you guys on every drive back for 5 hours, and I love you guys. You're so good. You keep us, you keep my whole family engaged as we come back, and I really appreciate that. And I just got to say, when it comes to this team and it comes to the heart of this team and players like Jamal Williams, who, you know, he might act goofy, but his heart's in it. And that speech he gave in Hard Knocks about what it means to be to face the record that we have and the tears that I've shed those tears, and I appreciate that passion. And I've never seen it before with this team. So you guys keep doing what you're doing. I love what you do. I can't wait to hear you when I'm coming back next week after the victory. Just keep it up and love you. Thank you.
Appreciate that, man.
Thank you, man.
Really appreciate that. That's
awesome.
really, really kind of you. And have a safe drive. Be good. Thank you for the call. And I hate to break the news. We haven't quite figured it out, but I'm going to be with Andy next week. I'm flying out to see us beat the Seahawks, because that'll happen when I'm there. So
100% has to happen.
Yeah. I gotta find the video from Minnesota and pull that out. We'll play that this week on the regular show. Hey, caller, what's your name? How much have you had to drink? Caller, tune in Tokyo. Come in Tokyo.
Hello. No good.
All right, see you later, brother. All right, there you go. That was really kind. I appreciate that, though. Thanks a lot for saying all those nice words about the show, because it's kind of the fuel for the fire, right? All right, Hawkinson. Anything else you want to talk about with Hawkinson, Andy? I think you're muted, brother.
I am muted. I was clicking my mouse a lot. I am muted. I had so many funny things to say that you guys must have missed.
Hilarious. I saw.
That's why nobody was laughing. Ugh. No, Hawkinson is interesting to me because what Ben Johnson is doing as an offense isn't putting Hawkinson forward enough where he's going to get forced a ball. I think Hawkinson is second read, maybe third read on most of his routes, which is kind of where, a lot of tight ends are in normal offenses. And I don't know if that's going to work out long-term for him. I think someone's going to pay him a lot of money because when he looks good, he looks really good. He's a good blocker and he does all that stuff incredibly well for the most part. But I just don't see a scenario where the Lions pay him what he's probably going to command out in the free agent realm.
Yeah. I don't see. I don't see him getting what the market's going to bear for who he is, and it is what it is.
Ebron's a free agent. We'll bring him back.
Oh God, that's one of our biggest videos is the Ebron gives up video on the channel. Just search Ebron gives up and you'll find it, and that's all you need to know about Eric Ebron. Oh, I really, really dislike that guy. Like his personality is not likable either. It's just I don't know. Anyway, all right. So with that, we are 1-2, the Detroit Lions. We see the Seattle Seahawks next week at home. So that should be, we got that going for us, which is nice.
That is nice.
Offense looked good. The offense continued to score. Didn't score as much as the last couple weeks. There's probably a headline for your street name sports YouTube channel or 97.1 where you can say that Lions score 12 points less than normal. Is their offense failing? Have they been figured out? You can hear all that crap. I think we just played a team that came back after a tough loss, pretty strong. I think early we played them and exposed them the same way that Philadelphia did, and I think they were ready to adjust to that. And I don't know that we did okay after that, but we didn't adjust. It was 10 more points, but we didn't adjust as much as it'll like to.
Yep.
Fourth quarter, no points, and we gave 14. That was where it hurt. Yeah, that's where it hurt the best. All right, let's see. Anything else? I think we're good. Sandman, any kind of wrap up when you look at the team where we are now? I know let's start with, because this is, I think, a little bit of therapy for you too. Your tweet. This is the most angry you've been after a loss. Kind of talk through that into where you are now, and what do you think?
Honestly, I was pretty mad, just because the mistakes that were made were easy mistakes to not make. It almost seemed like they were choosing the wrong things on purpose. We're not talking about the defense made a fantastic play and that's why we lost or anything like that. Their offense did make a good play to score the touchdown, obviously. But Dan Campbell's presser, and I'm going to have to go back and re-listen to it. Hopefully they fix the audio when they post it on YouTube later.
They do.
But that presser was literally about as good of a presser as you can have after a blundery game like this. He nailed it. And I think that's why we as a Lions fan base love Dan Campbell for the most part.
And the players.
Because, he's honest. Yeah. He is who he is. They talked about this during Hard Knocks. He is who he is. You're not getting some different guy on a different day. And, when he came out and he told us the exact same thing that he told the team, that's pretty special. That doesn't happen in the NFL. We get coach speak. We don't know what anybody's doing.
Right.
So this, how many times do we watch Jim Caldwell make dumb choices or lose a game by doing something really silly, and then we would never, even know if they knew what they did was wrong.
Right.
That's infuriating. He really took the edge off of how I felt about this loss with that, and I think that's special, and I think that the players can rally behind that, and I think that the players are rallying behind that. So, for all things considered, this was a loss. It sucks. But I think the Lions are still on the course that they were at the beginning of the year, win or lose this game.
Yeah. I agree with you 100%. I think, again, week 10, week 12, this excuse is gone. But we have a young team, young player, youngest in the league. We have a young coach, and they're all young coaches, guys getting their first shot. They've got to work some things out. Foundationally, they've got all the right stuff. They've just got to learn and they've got to grow. And the only way you do that is when you make a mistake and you can admit it, just like you said. I screwed up, made a mistake. I wish I'd have done it differently, rather than doing I am the guy who made the smartest play call in the Super Bowl. Right? Literally no ownership at all. I'm the best.
Yep.
And that's all, right? This is completely different than that. And I think this is the way that you see people grow. When you have a player, you can look at coaches and players very similarly in this way. When you have a player who doesn't listen to their coach, they miss, Amani, right? Gets nailed for holding. Don't do that. Don't do that. And he goes out and he does it again and again and again. This is now a bad example, but you have a guy who isn't coachable, who isn't going to learn, who isn't going to get better because he won't do things differently. He knows better. You have a coach there who openly admits, not just to the players behind closed doors, but to the public and to the press that, I made some mistakes. I made some mistakes and I'll get better. So that's that. That's the way it is. And again, by week 10, we better see it. I'm hoping, I was crazy for calling it for a 10-win season or 7-win season. And I don't think I am still. I still think 7 wins is within the realm of possibility, in the realm of reality for this team. And I think we'll see what's going on. We'll see what's going on from there. Let's see. Monday. I think it's Monday. It might be Tuesday. We're going to hear from Scott Bischoff with his post-game analysis. Right. He's doing pre-games and post-game analyses, and he's got a couple other things we're going to roll out as well. He'll do a great analysis. His is, this is our therapy or celebration session. This is our opportunity to kind of react emotionally to the game. When Scott comes, he's going to do a lot more of the X's and O's, look at it. So that gives us a little kind of a boost on the type of content that we're bringing out. So he'll be there with that. The show this week should be on Wednesday, dealing with the potential of a hurricane. We'll see how all that plays out. Everything's kind of up in the air right now, so we have to wrestle with that stuff. So a lot of stuff coming this week. We'll continue with more content, doing our thing. Andy, thank you, brother. I appreciate you so much.
Absolutely.
For coming on and doing this again. I enjoy your company.
I'm going to see you a week from today, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Barring my house getting blown away. Yeah.
Well, you should get out of there anyway. Come visit me.
Good thing. I'll leave my wife behind. And last one, super chat. Thank you, Dave Griffiths. Anyone think we should try new kickers?
Yes.
I'm not sad about
Bring them in. Let's see what they got.
We're in a weird spot. We're with kickers a lot like the Packers are with quarterbacks, in that we had Eddie Murray, then Jason Hansen, then Matt Prater, and it was just automatic. Right? We've been spoiled. It's just automatic. And those guys don't exist in large chunks, and we're in the Nate Freeze era right now, it feels like.
Yes, we are.
And that's something that we should probably be able to talk more about, is not being able to trust your kicker and how that affects your calls and what you do. So, all right. Amazon.DetroitLionsPodcast.com. Halloween's coming. Get all your stuff for that. Amazon.DetroitLionsPodcast.com. Subscribe, please, to the channel. Like the channel, like the video. We appreciate when you do that. And with that, we're going to call it a show. Head over to patreon.com, patreon.com/Detroit Lions, patreon.com/Detroit Lions. You get access to the Slack chat if you donate $5 a month. It is the most intelligent Lions chat on the internet. No question about it. Everyone's there. All the hosts of the shows are there. It's great conversation, and there's all kinds of channels with all kinds of different topics. And of course, great Lions stuff. So enjoy that. Get into the patreon.com/Detroit Lions podcast. Also, give us a follow on Twitter at DET Lions Podcast or at Sandman7773.
Nailed it.
Locked in up here. DET Lions Pad. I can't do my own.
DET Lions you Pod started so good.
And it's Sandman7773. Give us a follow. We appreciate that. Also, give us a call on Skype, Detroit Lions Podcast, all one word, Detroit Lions Podcast, or call us on the Lions line, 929-33-LIONS. It's 929-335-4667. I'll leave a message. We'll put you on the show. And also, show up to DetroitLionsPodcast.com. Subscribe to the podcast. And that way, what happens when they subscribe to the podcast, Sandman?
We get blasted into your ears automatically.
That's right. Thank you for tuning in. We're going to catch you next time on the Detroit Lions Podcast. Remember, no pants, no toasters, no hot tubs, and no problems, because we're your Detroit Lions and Reddit Connection.